Hey, welcome to the Frugal Tech channel. And sitting behind me is a purchase that I have been wanting to make for a long time. Now, the LG 34UM95 Ultrawide monitor, I think it was released around 2014, and they were over $1,000 brand new. Now, they've had several improvements in new generations of these monitors since, and now the curved ultrawides tend to be very, very popular. But this is the particular model that I have wanted, and when it went on sale on Amazon for $699, I snatched one up. And this is my impressions of after owning this monitor for I think a couple weeks now. These are my first impressions. I will be doing a more in-depth review of this display, but I can tell you right now, and I'll just bottom line it for you. I am so happy that I made this purchase. I can't always honestly say that every piece of gear I buy makes that big a difference in my life or my health or how I'm feeling, but this does, and I'll explain why. The first reason that I wanted this monitor was for the ergonomics of it. Let me explain by the ergonomics. Before I had this monitor, many of you may know that I had dual monitors. They were the 27-inch 1440p flat panels. They were South Korean made. Very beautiful displays, but they weren't without their faults. One of them including very rocky pedestals that they, stands that they set on. Very rocky, very shaky, not well made. They're not well made, folks. I'm here to tell you. Beautiful panels, but the rest of it is pretty much crap in my opinion. That being said, I'm not the type that can take two displays and put them side by side in front of me, directly in front of me. The reason for that, first, the bezels drive me nuts. And also, dual 27 inches side by side is huge. That's a lot of ground to cover. So what I did, and I think a lot of people do this with the dual display, they put one directly in front of them and then kind of cock the other one maybe at a 45-degree angle or so off to the side or hanging on the side. My problem is when I spend the day with different apps running in both displays, I'm constantly doing this number back and forth all day long, and after a while my neck began to hurt. Having this one ultra-wide screen got rid of that problem. Not to mention, I don't have two power cords to deal with, two video cables to deal with, only one, so there's less cord clutter with it. The secondly was the space savings. Two 27-inch monitors, or three monitors, or you could be two 24s, however that you want to do it. This thing actually takes up less room on my desktop, and it frees up room to put other things on there, including my headphone stand here and some other things, but it also gives me room to actually do paperwork and that kind of thing. The room I didn't have that I was able to reclaim by going with this one display. Okay, a lot of people make the case you want to get one of these displays for productivity. And I gotta admit, I'm every bit as productive with this display than I was the dual displays that I used to have. And the reason for that is because I can get multiple windows on. There's actually a utility you can split this thing into multiple screens if that's what you want to do. But I just find the ability to have my favorite applications working on, which I use Outlook, which sucks a lot, but I use it a lot. Excel, I use QuickBooks all day. I'm all day long in that. And I do a lot of copying and pasting. And remember when I said that I had the two monitors kind of cocked each other, I was doing this number all day. Now the other thing is I enjoy making YouTube videos. This is something I'm really, really passionate about. And it's really nice when I'm editing video in this thing, whether I'm using Sony Vegas or whether I'm using Final Cut Pro when I have it connected to my MacBook Pro. It's nice to have that entire timeline right there inside. Believe me, if you're a video editor, these things really, really are absolutely killer. Let's talk about the color on this thing. Now, I'm really picky about color. In fact, I go so far as to actually calibrate with a Spider, I think it's the Spider Express 5 calibrator, all my monitors. This one, I can tell you right now, really doesn't need calibration right out of the box. The color is really dead on this thing. I don't know, I just enjoy looking at a display with beautiful color that's not unrealistic, not oversaturated, not too blue, not too much magenta, but really accurate color. My eyes are very sensitive to color. So with one of these, it's 99% of the sRGB space, which is what you want to really use when you're creating video content for the web. That's what you want to be concerned about. But it does come with a color calibration utility, so that's really, really cool. Now this particular monitor comes with a Thunderbolt dock already built in, okay? So you don't need to have a KVM in order to use, say, a MacBook Pro with a Windows machine. And that kind of functionality is really nice. And you can also get there's also software that through software you can control either computer back and forth. So, but I didn't really install that. I actually used the physical dock, and it's just a little button down here that like a joystick, and you just push it and you change your input source and off you go. I think that's really, really great. But so far, not all is perfect with this monitor. There have been some glitches, particularly in the driver, the USB driver that they want you to install. I can't get it to install correctly on here. The USB ports seem to work without the driver, so I'm not 100% clear what it actually does for me. But it does seem to work, but the driver won't install. And I went on the various forums, and I see that that's quite a common problem with this display. Another issue is when you have it hooked up to your Mac and a PC both, this KVM thing, well, if you have external discs hook up to the USB ports, and it comes with 2 USB 2 ports and 1 USB 3 port. It has a USB 3 uplink port, as well as 2 HDMI, 2 Thunderbolt, and also DVI as well. So it's got a lot of ports. But when you have your when I had my MacBook Pro hooked up to it, and I would kick it over back to PC, when I kicked it back over to, that's right, the Mac, all the drives, the external drives that I had hooked up to the Thunderbolt ports were improperly ejected, and the Mac just acted screwy until I did a full reboot of it, and everything was fine. Networking wouldn't work, nothing. It was just weird. I'm not sure what that anomaly is. I do know that they have a Mac driver as well. And finally, also I have just got this Focusrite 2i2 digital audio converter, and I had it plugged into the back of the monitor as well, and it's just screwy hooked up to that. Apparently they want you to have it hooked up to your motherboard USB ports as opposed to a hub or something like that. So ultimately, my experience with this monitor has been very, very good. It has made my life better, and therefore it was worth the expense, because I've never paid that much money for a monitor in my life. And I can honestly say that I'm glad I did, but it's not perfect. You know, it weighs about 17 pounds. A lot of people don't like the fact that it's not really height adjustable. That doesn't bother me too much, but some people don't like that, and I get that, I understand that. But I had to go with what the price was and what it offered, and I just couldn't see myself paying $1,000 or more for a different monitor. I'm not sure I'd like the curved model that much either. So in my particular use case, it's going to be fine. And I think it's also easier on your graphics card. You know, I've got a little bit older graphic cards. I've got a Radeon 7950, so you know it's a little bit old, getting long in the tooth. And this is not, pushing as many pixels as a 4K, so it's a little bit kinder and gentler. What about gaming on this thing? Fantastic. It's great, man. I can just look at it, watch a video game. It really is immersive. It's not as immersive maybe as, having a triple display. Man, oh man, it is light years different than playing on a 27-inch 1440p. It is really, really great. But I did notice a little bit of tearing in the videos, so this graphics card is getting pretty long too, so it's probably time to get it upgraded. So in all, the experience of owning an ultra-wide, if you're coming from a single, like a 24, 27-inch, or maybe even dual 1080p, something like that, I think it's worth it. I think you're going to be very, very pleased with the productivity performance, the increase in productivity, the immersion of games, the great, maybe the color might even be better than what you got, I don't know. The ability to use it as a docking station with either, let's say your laptop and PC all in one monitor. just the clean look of it is just, I think, something to behold. And it really does change the way you work. So this is just my first impressions, and I look forward to creating a more detailed video for you in the future. Take it easy, everybody. Until the next one.